You're going to learn a lot today, but you have to listen to this. My guest is Manolis Sfinarolakis. Greek name, love Greece, and you're on today to talk about reality crowd TV. I love innovators, entrepreneurs. You're a UConn grad. They're doing a lot of stuff up there with think tanks and innovation and entrepreneurs. Let's start with, who the heck are you? Where'd you grow up? What do the folks do? And how did you end up doing what you're doing today?
Great. Well, Ann, I just want to say thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Your show is an incredible asset to Connecticut, and thank you so much for having me on. So I'm Manolis Sfinarolakis, born in Connecticut.
You said that better than me, which is fine.
Hey, you said it for the first time meeting tonight. You are an A+ in my book.
So you grew up where?
Grew up in Woodbury, Connecticut, from parents who were born in Greece. I started out in the restaurant business. My family has owned a restaurant now for 35 years.
Constantine's in Woodbury.
That's correct. And actually, we were selected in town as the Small Business of the Month at Naugatuck Savings. So we're, good press here as well for that. And so I grew up in the business and graduated from UConn, as you mentioned, with an accounting degree. And then I started at Deloitte & Touche as an auditor. So really, I'm an entrepreneur at heart with an analytical mind.
So you went the normal route, as it were, out of college. You got the job, you had health benefits, you started on your way. When did you make a turn to say, because you also did real estate?
That's correct.
When did you say, I'm going to embrace social media and innovation and entrepreneurship? Because that's a tough road. That's a really tough road. So what happened that you embraced that?
Well, we have to head back to my days at Deloitte. As a newbie at Deloitte back in 2006, I had worked a very long period there auditing an initial public offering. A company was going public out of Stamford, Connecticut. And in 9 days, I clocked 110 hours in 9 days. The result of that was me auditing a wire transfer into the owner's account. He only sold 10% of his company, and he raised $990 million, 900 million of which went directly into his personal brokerage account. So after I saw this amazing entrepreneur really build a business for over 33 years and then only sell 10% to raise that huge sum of money, I said, I should be building a business. I should not be necessarily afraid of not having the steady paycheck, but for some reason what that profound experience did for me was made me realize that I should be using my talents to build a business, to follow a passion. And so when I turned to social media was when I said, what is the best way for an entrepreneur to promote himself and his services at a cost that's very minimal, usually free if you do it yourself? And so as soon as I saw that potential, I said, this is the future. The internet is the way that news and information and products are broadcast. So the turning point was that date, which started me down the path. But it was 5 years before I started the current venture that I'm on, Reality Crowd TV, because...
So you tried a lot of things.
I tried a lot of things. I tried, real estate for a short time. I did restaurant management, a second business that my parents opened that wasn't doing so well. I was actually the president of a nonprofit organization as well, a Greek-oriented nonprofit. And really, during that whole time, I kind of said to myself, I said, although these are not my passion, although these experiences are not my primary passion, what can I learn from all these experiences? And the one thing that I learned was that social media was really a huge part of all of these, whether it was promoting a nonprofit event, whether it was advertising a rental property, whether it was posting ads on Facebook to bring more restaurateurs into the door. I realized that all this was leading to something greater. All these skills that I was building were leading to something that I was meant to accomplish.
So you now have something called Reality Crowd TV. You have some folks working alongside you, young folks, and I would say to you that many things that are going to be successful have not even been invented yet. Perhaps this is one of those things. Growing up, in my day, it was impolite to ask for money. Now, with social media, hey, look, I'm building something new. Get behind me and give me a few bucks, and people are doing it. What is reality crowd TV? Because we're all crowdsourcing things now. Explain this to me.
So Reality Crowd TV is an educational program teaching entrepreneurs the different steps to take, including the 9 stages of crowdfunding that they would need to actually embark upon in order to raise capital online. So let me take a step back.
And do it in layman's terms, because many people watching will say, what are you talking about?
Absolutely. So crowdfunding is this new phenomenon that really began in 2009. And what is crowdfunding? Take the concept of passing around the basket at church, where a group of people contribute to an individual with a need, put that concept online, apply it to things other than charities such as small businesses, art, music, and film, and you have crowdfunding. So you have these websites now that are allowing creators, creative people, that are allowing entrepreneurs, and they are still allowing nonprofits to market themselves in a new way in order to promote their interest in business, to promote their interest in art and music. And really what I like to call what's happening now is the new Renaissance. I like to think that if Leonardo da Vinci was alive today, he wouldn't need the Medici family, because the world is your patron. With crowdfunding, you can go online and promote your passion, and there's no doubt that there's so many people in this world that someone will be passionate about the same things that you are.
It's a new way to market.
It's a new way to market, and see, that's the misconception of crowdfunding at present. Because it's fairly new, most people believe that if they just put their project online on a website, a great idea one day and a week later you're marketing yourself online, they go up there and they're like, oh man, why aren't the internet angels coming down to save me? Why isn't no one contributing toward my campaign? And the misconception of that is that it isn't a magic place where you just get funded with little effort.
It's hard work.
It is incredibly hard work. In fact, it is probably the hardest work anyone will have to embark on to date. If they weren't an entrepreneur previously and they have to embark on a crowdfunding campaign, they're going to have to go through amazing sacrifices for a pretty short period of time, 3 to 6 months, in order to see their dream come
Little
reality.
pay, they're probably living at home.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do what you have to do, and many fail. Would you say
Yes.
that many stop because it's so daunting and so hard right before they might make it?
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of books that write about that instant, that write about the instant where right when it's the hardest, most people quit, but had they kept going, they would have seen the gold. Yes, most people quit when the time gets tough, and there's a number of reasons for that. Number one, maybe they don't have a good support system. But number two, just because they stopped there doesn't mean that they didn't grow, doesn't mean that they didn't learn something incredibly valuable that will bring them to the next phase of their development. Just to let you know, I failed many times. When I did my real estate property management company, although I was making a revenue, ultimately, when the going got tough and I was about to damage my credit rating and lose like my financial, I ended up saying, my God, I need to go find another job, and I did. But what that did was, instead of the fear making me go get another job, I should have had the fear motivate me to find more business. So that fear of ruin.
But it's isolating. It's so isolating when you know you have the passion. This is going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. Oh, maybe it's not going to work. And you stay up late at night and no money's coming in. I mean, this is so many folks across the country, across the globe right now, trying to find the next thing that's going to work because things that used to work don't anymore.
Yes. I always like to say this, and I don't mean to say it to be crude about it, but what got the middle class to where they are will not keep them there in this new world. In this new economy, the things that got the middle class where they are today, if they don't change anything about the way they operate their businesses or their lives, they will be slowly diminishing.
Reinvent.
They have to reinvent, yeah.
So Reality Crowd TV, you're quoted as saying, Shark Tank without the bite. What does that mean?
Yes, so I'm sure you've seen Shark Tank, and we all have. It's such a great, it's a great series. But on Shark Tank, it shows entrepreneurs who already are pretty successful in their own right. They've gotten to a certain level where they've been invited onto Shark Tank. And so the audience, number one, doesn't see what it took for them to get there. They just see that they're there, they
Sure.
have this business, there's not really much education involved. On top of that, now they're pitching in front of 4 or 5 sharks. Many of them are pretty ruthless, they're condescending.
Makes good TV.
It makes great TV.
But hurtful.
But hurtful, and some of these entrepreneurs too, I mean, you know, they're willing to take it because the show gets so much viewership that ultimately their business is better whether they win or lose on that. But I feel as if, as an audience member, it does not help you as an individual who may want to start a business. It's entertaining, but it's not educational.
So what do you guys do? RealityCrowdTV.com.
So what we do is we host educational programs on a weekly basis. And first I'll tell you what our ultimate goal is, and then I'll tell you what we do currently. We want to create a reality TV show that, although will be entertaining, we want it to be a mentor type show. That instead of venture capitalists condescending entrepreneurs, we want mentors, angel investors, and business professionals to really help these entrepreneurs go through what I like to call the 9 stages of crowdfunding.
Which are?
It's business planning, because everyone has to start with a business plan, securing your intellectual property, social media, public relations, campaign strategy, meaning how is an entrepreneur who wants to raise capital through crowdfunding, how are they going to get the word out? Networking and team building, because as you mentioned earlier, you cannot do this alone. Entrepreneurship is not just one person. This is inspiring a group of people to want to help you. So networking and team building is among the biggest skills anyone can have. Website development, because you need to have a good website and you have to have a strategy as to how is it going to look before you launch your campaign, during and after. The profile and video. Every crowdfunding campaign has to tell a good story. So you need to create this beautiful video and then language around the video to inspire people toward contribution. And then finally, fulfillment, which is the most important, because you're making a promise to your contributors. And if you cannot fulfill on that promise, that you can get in legal trouble, and you're really going to give this amazing movement a bad name if you don't have your ducks in a row and you renege on your promise.
So this is all exhausting. You're going to help people do this. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, and my show is going to document the 3 to 6 month period before they ever launch a campaign. I want to have a pool of contestants, 9 to 10 individuals.
So you're starting to look for these folks now?
Absolutely. I've gone on a nationwide tour, actually, from January to April of this year, 2014. I went to 9 states: Connecticut, New York, Boston, DC, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Austin, Denver, and Seattle. I believe that was 9. And I was getting all this footage on my YouTube channel, at least right now is where I have it. That was the first round of really market research. But every week, I've had 30 episodes of my show. Every week I get entrepreneurs coming to me who are pitching their amazing startup ideas and who are looking to start using crowdfunding as a way to capitalize themselves.
Where's this reality show going to air? Is YouTube? What are the thoughts?
Well, here's an interesting thought.
And get UConn to help you, by the way.
I want to. Yeah, UConn, if you're listening,
Yes.
Please help me. So here's the thought. No matter what, it'll be a web-based series, because I don't want to have the illusion that getting nationally syndicated is easy, because it's not. The chances of
near impossible.
Near impossible. But I'm passionate about this movement, and I'm passionate about helping people do this, that at a minimum, it's always going to be a web-based show. I'm in this for the long haul.
That's where folks are, though.
Absolutely. But the piece that will increase the likelihood of my success, I believe, to get nationally syndicated is that I am going to run a crowdfunding campaign for Reality Crowd TV, a program about crowdfunding. I'm going to run my own campaign. What I've been doing for the last 8 to 9 months has been building an audience and an engaged user base to have us be, put our money where our mouth is. If we're going to help people, then we better crowdfund ourselves to show that what we're teaching people works.
Interesting. You're 31 years old.
Yes.
Because you told me.
Absolutely.
So when is this going to get off the ground? Who do you want to come to you? How does this show help you get to where you want to be?
So I actually already believe that I'm off the ground a little bit, because I firmly believe that in order to convince people that you're committed, and in order to convince people that you've gone as far as you've needed to go, you need to do as much as you can yourself. So with the technologies out there, Right now, social media, back to that. Google Plus is a social network owned by Google. YouTube is also owned by Google. My broadcast for my show is done right in front of my webcam. I hit a live broadcast button on Google Plus. Yep. And the beautiful piece is, as soon as I hit stop broadcast on Google Plus, it automatically gets recorded onto YouTube. It's a seamless transition.
I didn't know that. I've just learned something.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. So I can do a lot without the capital.
How do you know that, how much longer are you going to give this before you either give up or do something else, or is it just, Katie, bar the door, I'm doing this? Well,
I actually believe that this will go on long after I move on. What I'm trying to build is a legacy. I believe that Reality Crowd TV needs a figurehead initially to kick it off. But the organization that I foresee in the future does not have me as the host. I'm not a narcissist. And so like, I know that I'm not, I'm not the best host for the job, but I'm the most passionate about what I do. And so I want to bring other people in and help them, enjoy that opportunity. Maybe it's journalist majors from colleges. Maybe it becomes a localized effort where there's individual journalists in different locations, not only in the US, but globally. So I'm in this for the long haul, but will I always be the host? Probably not. Will I always be having the strategic direction in my heart and in my mind? Yes, and I'll always be involved there. But I believe one day I want to give the opportunity to the people who would be better for the job. Just because it's my baby doesn't mean that I won't have babysitters,
Derek, on that we're going to end this, because I think you've whetted the appetite of a lot of folks that will see this to come to realitycrowdtv.com, find out what you're all about. They can contact you there. And UConn graduated a great mind. Nicely done. Manolis Sfinarolakis.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you. Pleasure.